it's not copyright infringement to just quote a book, I don't think. So, do right now is The Importance of Living by Lin Yutang, and I was looking through it, and I was wondering how separated in time and place and culture and everything this would be, and I discovered that it was first published in 1937. So, what he's trying to do here is, as simply as possible, I think, explain to a Western audience what Chinese philosophy and culture and worldview is like. And he does that, he refers a lot to Western culture to do that, but this is Western culture from 1937. So I was going to say that most Western audiences would be separated from him in distance and in culture and in time. But I'm a little bit less because he lives on the same street that I do. Or did, he's dead now. I've been to his house long after he died. It's a museum now, a little museum, out of the way little place. And a lot of his thinking he did hiking around on the same mountain paths that I did. So in a sense, I'm closer to him culture, I guess. But this is Chinese culture, 1937. I had no idea this was so old. Not in distance. Not in distance. We share an address, practically. But anyway, so what I'd said earlier about this book is that somewhere in here, and I could probably find it if I looked, he said that regardless of your race or your culture or your gender identity or sexuality or ethnicity or language spoken, there's one thing that for sure that all of humanity shares, and that's the pleasure of a great big fat shit in the morning. And that's somewhere in here. I mean, it's funny, but I don't know that he's exactly kidding. I mean, it's true. It'd be nice, okay, like, I've thought often, why can't we identify as human beings before anything else? Maybe it's not funny enough. Okay, so you won't be able to see that, so what do we take a picture of? I don't know. Take a picture of that. Or this. Oh, that worked well yesterday, didn't it? Well, take a picture of that. Take a picture of nothing. How about that? That's an idea. There. Okay. In the West, the old people efface themselves and prefer to live alone in some hotel with a restaurant on the ground floor. Okay, I can tell you, dude, old people aren't living in restaurants. In the West, the old people efface themselves and prefer to live alone in some hotel with a restaurant on the ground floor, out of consideration for their children and an entirely unselfish desire not to interfere in their home life. Have you noticed that when I say unselfish, I can't seem to get rid of my old accent? Like, seriously. An entirely unselfish desire not to interfere in their home life. But the old people have the right to interfere. And if interference is unpleasant, it is nevertheless... What? It is nevertheless... Okay, if you want to get to the core of Chinese philosophy, and this is true till today, fill in this blank. Old people have the right to interfere, and if interference is unpleasant, it is nevertheless natural. That's it. If a person who lives according to his own nature is a very lucky person, unless The natural person is a good person. uh, although maybe not superficially so. In any case, so if interference is unpleasant, it is nevertheless natural, for all life, particularly domestic life, is a lesson in restraint. All of life, particularly domestic life, is a life in restraint. So I've just said that the essence of Chinese culture is to live naturally, and then he's said that that all of life is the lesson in restraint, which a lot of people would consider unnatural, right? But I'm standing by it. A restrained life is a natural life. Parents interfere with their children anyway when they're young, and the logic of non-interference is already seen in the results of the behaviorists. Behaviorist is written in 1937. Obviously, it probably took him 10 years to write it before that. Anything written seriously, it took all your life. But what he's saying is that the results of the behaviorists, that's not relevant today. You could just take that out. So, the logic of non-interference is already seen in the results of the blank, who think that all children should be taken away from their parents. So how would you fill in that blank in 2021? The logic of non-interference is already seen in the results of the blank, who think that all parents should be taken away from their parents. That's it's the woke. Pretty much. That's if you don't agree with the way that we're going to educate them, then yeah, eventually we're going to try to take them away. If one cannot tolerate one's own parents when they're old and comparatively helpless, parents who have done so much for us, whom else can we tolerate in the home? Okay. The importance of living, lean,